Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my NHL 20 franchise mode here in the state of hockey. In the previous episode, we completed the 2033 NHL entry draft, and we've had better. I'm not even gonna lie. Our top few picks of the draft were pretty solid, but we didn't find any hidden treasure, any buried treasure. We threw a few Hail Marys and failed miserably. But after our Stanley Cup success, it's only a matter of time for things to start to falter. Now, going into this off-season, I only had a few things in mind to do. A few trades, a few re-signing stuff, money, all that jazz. But something I totally didn't prepare myself for was losing our captain, Kirill Kaprizov. Now, if you've been following the series for a little bit, Kirill Kaprizov won us 6 Stanley Cups in his career, and he went out on top. And he was only 36. 600 career NHL goals, and he's gone just like that at 36. I thought I had a few more years with him, maybe as our second line right winger, or even worse than that, But I didn't expect him to hang up the boots. I didn't. So that changes things drastically for the lineup. There were a few names in my head that I'm like, okay, keep Kaprizov for a bit. That means somebody's going to have to move this way, that way. It's a lot of push and pull. But losing Kaprizov opens up a major position in the top 6, which means there's a few ideas I don't have to consider anymore. But let's go ahead and talk about the offseason so far. Let's talk about the draft. The draft. Everybody wants to hear about the draft. Unsigned players. The best player we got out of the draft was Kip Reed. 13th overall in the draft. We moved up to the Buffalo pick around halfway through the draft. We decided, there's nothing around the pick that I really want. We pick him, solid player, but we're going to leave him unsigned because I don't really have any reason to bring him on. Now, there weren't any other super noticeable prospects. I mean, we got Ulf Hedman in the first round as well with our last pick. Other than that, there wasn't anything super noticeable during the draft. We also got this top 6 guy, but he's an overager, so I'm not expecting too much out of that. There was no elite prospect, none of that. But there are a few things to consider now. With $17 million, we don't have to bring on Kirill Kaprizov. We can save this money and be smart about it. Where should I start in this offseason? Let's go ahead and talk about... Let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about defensemen. So, who's getting the captaincy? That is also a question that I've answered myself that you will find out very, very soon. So our top 4 is still looking great. Quinn Hughes still has a few more years left in him. Harry Parrish, Grossman. But we also have, as our 6th and 7th defenseman, we have Brent Perez, who just played his rookie season, and Enlund, Johan Enlund, who was drafted not too long ago. It says he's ready for NHL competition. He looks more impressive of the two of them. I'm just not sure if I should sign him right this second. I know he's 79 at 19. And it's kind of putting me in a difficult position because Perez and Grossman didn't work the best last year. But if we add another offensive defenseman to the lineup right this second, how is it really going to affect us? I mean, we can try both of them. We can, you know what I mean? Like, I can put one in the lineup for a little bit, play the other one, so on and so forth, see who works out better. Because Enlund needs to get some NHL time, right? He's young, but he's too talented to play overseas anymore. So I think that's the right decision to make. Let's go ahead and talk about goaltending real quick. Well, goaltending is the most simple thing going forward. Legitimately. Christian Pettersson had a great year, great postseason, all that. We won a Stanley Cup. Him as our starter was definitely one of the most solid starters we've had in the postseason. Backup situation next year is Arsenal. We might even change that up because he wasn't the best, but it's not even... He had a great win percentage at the end of last regular season, so we can always keep him on. As long as Pettersson's doing his job, then I'm okay. So our goaltending's fine. Sizik definitely dropped down from his high elite potential. Don't even know if he'll be a backup in the NHL one day. Greiba's young, still Leighton, Moore. We're relatively fine going into the future with our goaltenders. We got a lot of nice guys down here, but we have to make... Okay, so how many do we have signed right now? Because if we sign more than 6... one of them will be sent into oblivion. It's if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was in my Columbus Blue Jackets franchise mode where we signed over the 6 allowable goaltenders you're allowed to have, and the guy that was signed last wasn't in free agency. You couldn't see him anywhere, and then he showed back up in free agency the year after. So I love this game so much. So we currently have 5. So we're allowing one more. Do we go ahead and sign this Benin so we don't drop him to free agency? Yeah, I'd rather do that. That makes sense, Owen. Yeah, I'd do that. And I'm okay with losing... Well, I'm okay with losing those 2 starting goaltenders. I'm not a huge fan of them anyways. It is whatever. So we'll go ahead and... advance a day. I don't know why I pressed advance a day. But sure. Okay, looks good. I don't know why. I literally don't know why I advanced today. But let's talk about the UFAs. Let's just get them out of the way. Iowa won the Calder Cup in the AHL. So honestly, that's pretty impressive for both teams to win their respected trophies, which is honestly really impressive. I'm pleasantly surprised. So we want to keep this team relatively the same for the AHL so they can continue to win. So both squads are just winning trophies left and right. It is awesome. We'll sign him to a 1-year deal. I'm fine with that. Bobby McFumbles, absolute stud. Sign him to a contract as well. Cutler never turned out to be anything. That sucks. Danner? He doesn't want NHL money. Sick. Gnarly, dude. RFAs. The biggest one here is Bobby Lev, and with all the money, we're just going to sign him to... I mean, I'm okay with as a depth player for, 3 years at 1.6. I think that's a fair contract. And all these other guys, doesn't even matter, because we're so damn good, we don't need anybody. Koskinen, we can sign to a contract. I'm fine with that. So we're going to advance today. Hopefully everybody comes back and doesn't give me grief. Signed a bunch of scouts off camera because we don't need a bunch of them. Gonna get all through them. Bobby Lev didn't sign his contract. Fun times. Arkhipov was the only guy that didn't want to come back to Minnesota. Bobby Lev, you don't... Really? We'll give you 1.6 for 1 year? Would you do that? Would you do that, bud? Nice. Works for me. So, that's relatively it for the re-sign phase. We have $16 million to play with, but we have to be very, very diligent because next year we have a lot of guys coming off contract, Quinn Hughes and Gogolev being the two of the biggest contracts. Langweeder. We also have Hudobin. The best decision going forward might be to hold off and be smart about the money that we use. Let's go to coaching staff because I believe our head coach needs to be re-signed. So whatever he wants, we'll give him the money. $8 million in budget. Great. I hate dealing with coaches. I wish it was as simple as MLB The Show 20 because it's so simple. You just press a button and they sign. You don't have to wait a bunch of days. It's super simple. I don't know. God. EA, you can learn some things, man. Please believe me. So I'm sure he'll come back we should be good to go for free agency. Wellwood. Good. Good. I don't know why I thought he didn't. I don't know why I thought he didn't accept that. That would suck for us, right? So, 47 contracts. Let's see who the big fish is in free agency. Okay. The biggest player here is Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Absolute beauty. What a buttery name that is. Peter Reynolds, Chubasov, Lundstrom, Ekblad, Potter, Mitch Marner, Gerard. So there's a lot of older guys here. So we're relatively lucky because if there was that player out there that we wanted, we would have just spent a bunch of money on it right now and wasted our money. I don't think that's the right word to use, but any guys come through the cracks? Nothing I really want. I mean, the Slaney guy isn't anything super crazy. Okay, any big goaltenders? Who's the big goaltender? Oh, it's Jaden Weeman. Jaden Weeman, Taro Maki. I don't know why I said Timu Maki. And there's a bunch of former Minnesota Wild goaltenders out here. Varlamov is Philadelphia. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about a while back. Shields, Champion. All our boys are out here right now. So, do we sign Jaden Weeman? That's a legitimate question I have. No. Well, yeah, he's probably going to come back to the Western Conference, right? Nah, we don't need him. We got Christian Pettersson. We traded away Weeman because he's absolute voodoo. He's voodoo. Any goaltenders slip through the cracks? Oh, me. What? Whoa. That goalie's $1.5 million for an 87 overall goaltender? Excuse me? He's a... Ooh, okay. I will keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind for sure, bud. But first, we do have to make a trade. The trade, some people might disagree with. No, it's not Gogolev. I don't know why I pressed that. It is a centerman, and we are so deep at center. His name is Lionel Waters. Doesn't seem to be a Detroit. Are we going to screw Detroit again? I mean, not to screw Detroit. Lionel Waters is an absolute beauty. But with his talent level and with how deep our squad is already, he's not going to like the response I have going into next year where I'd only put him in the bottom 6. And he's too talented for that role. I love him. Trust me, if I could keep him on this roster forever, I would. He's a great player, over half point per game guy. He's a great player to have on your squad. He's been with Minnesota for a long time. This is the time for 2 firsts from Detroit, who's a dumpster fire. You never know, right? So I want to trade him away. Detroit, good luck. Lionel Waters, make sure that team plummets into the Earth's core. Because now we have 2 firsts for the next 2 years. Detroit gives us another first-round pick. Hey, they offered it to us. So Lionel Waters is off the table. He's off the table. It's all good. Now, I think we'll be relatively okay. We're going to be a really young core. Like, Kreider needs to get in the lineup. Schoon needs to get in the lineup. These are guys that are going to take over. We might be a weaker team this next year, but it's all for a good cause. We're going to be stronger. It's just a matter of time for this team to be a little bit stronger. We're going to get strong. And look, we've won so many President's Trophies in a row. It's only a matter of time until we stop winning so many. But I think that's all I really wanted to do for the off season. So, and I'm 14 minutes in, 15 minutes in. I'm ready to jump into the season simulation. So, after a little bit of simulating, a little bit of tinkering, a little bit of thought process, I used my upper brain skills, my big brain, to come up with the 2033-2034 Minnesota Wild. And yes, I know, we got done the re-sign phase and free agency period in like the really quick 15 whatever minutes. And now we are going to do a bit of simulating, but I'm sure you are intrigued to see what the Wild look like this season. Let's go ahead and check it out. I'll give you some reasoning behind a few choices. We look very different, don't we? We look really different. First line seems a little weird without your boy Kirill Kaprizov. The captain is gone, which means we must name the captain, and I'm sure you have a lot of ideas in your head. Oh, he should be captain. No, he. No, him. I already have my decision made. I know who it's going to be, who is going to lead us into the future, who has been the man. But you'll have to find that out very, very soon. You might be wondering, why the hell is Alexander Hudobin getting the time on the first line? Why isn't it Newman or Langweeder or Gogolev or something like that? Hudobin has been stuck on the third line his entire career. He's 20. This is his third NHL season. He hasn't been surrounded by he hasn't been on the right lines to succeed. This guy is born for the second and first line. You know, he was around Lionel Waters and Gogolev, but he wasn't put into the right situation to succeed. So I think if we put him beside the best player in the league and one of the other best players in the league, I think this guy can thrive. He's a right-hand shot, so I think he fits in really well there on the first line. Now you could say Newman in there up on the first line. I can debate it either way, but since the second line gets the +3, I think Hadar and Newman work really, really well. But you already know the story about Pietrangelo and Anthony Francis. They're trying to hit some milestones this year. He's going to hit 1,400 points very, very soon. And Pietrangelo can probably hit 1,300 this year. I mean, in all seriousness, Anthony Francis could hit 1,500 points this season if he plays his cards right, if he has another repeat season. So here's hoping. That first line, I think, can do really, really good things. The second line, Louis Langmeter is a very, very lucky guy. The only reason he's in this top 6 is because Kaprizov retired, which is crazy that our captain retired at 36, but I knew it was bound to happen at some point. Louis Langmeter, be lucky. Harrison Hadar is coming to do some things this season. He is the reigning Calder winner. He's a Stanley Cup champion through his first ever NHL season, and he's playing alongside some hefty not even competition, but they're going to be neck and neck in points. I'm assuming probably the 4th and 5th best players on the squad this year in terms of points. That second line, our top 6 is phenomenal. The bottom 6 is where things get a little interesting. Let's talk about the fourth line first. Fourth line's looking gorgeous. +3, McKinnon, Khabibulin, and Bobby Lev. They're gonna kick the ever-living hell out of anybody who stands in front of them. That's just a fact. The ground and pound fourth line. The third line is where things are very, very interesting. Sergei Gogolev is 91 overall. Oh, trust me, I know. I know he's a top 6 player. He's a first line guy. He's right-handed. I believe he was originally a right winger or a left winger. He's a natural winger. We transitioned him to center to be the second line center, but Harrison Hadar is already that damn good. Gogolev is coming off of a contract. It is a contract season. I think he's going to do solid on this third line. He's playing special teams. He's playing power play. He's fine in terms of time. He's shaping these 2 young guys, Don Kreider and Lawrence Schoon, who we drafted 8th overall in 2030. And Kreider we got from Buffalo when we made a trade not too long ago to acquire him. That third line is a very, very interesting tandem. My thought process is maybe Gogolev will have a down year. He'll ask for less money on his next contract. I know it's hard to play it that way, but I think we're making the right decision. But that's a forward core. I think we're relatively fine. I think we can still win games. I'm not sure if we're going to start to take a back seat to the rest of the league, but I think we're still contenders. Defense is where things get interesting. Now, you know I was debating Brent Perez or Johan Enlund. I think I'm going to roll with Johan Enlund this season. He's looking very, very impressive. His stats show that he's 100% ready for time in the NHL. Brent Perez can survive in the AHL. Maybe if somebody has some statistical growth, that'll determine who I think is ready for the NHL. And I think right now Enlund deserves the time. Let's start from the bottom up. Matthias Grossman is getting plenty of special team time this year. He's technically ready for top 4 time, but then who takes a back seat, right? We're kind of waiting for Quinn Hughes to drop off for Grossman and Parrish and Bissonnette to get time. But Harry Parrish and Bissonnette, a phenomenal postseason run. Those two are going to have a great season. And don't even get me started about the best defensive duo of all time, Quinn Hughes and Brandt Clarke. They have won 6 Stanley Cups together. Brandt Clarke is coming off his very first Norris and a Conn Smythe Trophy. Quinn Hughes was in his 20s the last time he didn't win a Norris. It's been a very long time, but these two, I'm expecting some big things. Quinn Hughes will pass Larry Murphy for 5th or 6th or 4th all-time in defensive points with 1,217. He's tied right now, but 33 years of age, time is ticking. Let's talk about the special teams real quick. They're looking relatively fine. We don't have that +5 anymore off of the first power play unit, which is going to hurt us. Losing Kaprizov is going to test this team a lot heading into this season, but I think we should do relatively well. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for this team to gel properly. I think we're going to struggle right out of the gate. And yes, this three-man penalty kill looks bad, but I think their overalls will cancel out the -3 morale. And trust me, I tried every configuration for the penalty kill, but this is the best I could get it. It's going to be an interesting season with all these new faces. Things were bound to change, but we have a bunch of money, and we should be relatively fine heading into the future. Goaltending is exactly the same as it was last year. Christian Pettersson has definitely won me over with his performances in recent memory. Our backup, to be determined. The jury is still out on him, but he had a great winning percentage last year. Statistics could have been better, but Pettersson has taken the reins from anybody who challenged him before. Keep it going, Pettersson. Our scratch players this year are Jackson Morose, that's it. And then Nazir Danner. Pretty solid lineup. Let's go briefly over the reigning Calder champs, the Iowa Wild. A few noticeable prospects. Matthias Olis, we drafted him in the second round, 62nd overall in 2031. His potential is meh, but he's growing relatively fine. 76 overall at 20 years of age. He could be nothing. He could be something special for us, but you never really know. We also have Prince, and then we have Thomas, two guys that are ready for bottom time in the NHL, but with guys who are performing so well, it doesn't make any sense at this time. We also have Zimmerman, who's another noticeable guy. Elbit Schauser, who I think is going to be a solid NHL player for us one day. You know what? I'd rather go that. Yeah, that makes sense. Lynn, Koskinen. We don't have any mega prospects anymore. The ones that are in the NHL, right? Any noticeable guys here? Brent Perez and Webb. Those are our two most noticeable defensemen. Goaltending is pretty straightforward. Theo Greiba and Leighton are scratch guys. nothing super interesting. I mean, I made it. Maybe we should just Cronwall. We'll get Cronwall out and throw in Karpinen. Yeah, I got it. We all good. We all good. I'm not even gonna bother to show you the special teams. You guys want to know who the captain of the Minnesota Wild is, and I don't blame you. We will get to that, but first, I want to talk about some contracts. Next year is going to be rough. Rough in a sense, things could change drastically. Gogolev, how much is he going to want? $10 million. Not ready to give that up just this second. Quinn Hughes, 33 years of age. He wants a $14 million deal. $39 million, 100% worth it. He's the best defenseman of his generation. I'd rather go 3 years, bring him up till 36, 37 years of age. I'm ready and willing to give him whatever number he asks for 3 years at 12.975 times 0.85 equals $12 million over 3 years. I think he's 100% worth that kind of money. I hope he just takes it, makes it a little easier for us. $12 million over 3 years. Quinn Hughes is 100% worth it. We're going to sim up a few days, talk about captaincy and all that. Quinn Hughes has signed that contract, making this decision very, very easy for us. You guys have been wondering who is going to be the new captain of the Minnesota Wild. You have a lot of options. Anthony Francis, Pietrangelo, Quinn Hughes, Brant Clark. Any guy that you look at on this roster, you could give a reason why they might deserve captaincy. Quinn Hughes, for the majority of his career here and most of the Norrises, he didn't have a letter on his chest, which I get why you guys might be like, why the hell doesn't he have a letter? Well, Mironov had it, Anthony Francis and Pietrangelo had those, right? Your captain, your new captain of the Minnesota Wild, I said it from the time I knew Kaprizov was about to call it quits. Quinn Hughes is your new captain of the Minnesota Wild. Number 43, the best defenseman of his generation, the new captain of the Minnesota Wild. Hell freaking yeah. Let's go ahead and get some simulating underway. Maybe 2 months this episode, I'm not too sure. We'll even slow sim the first game of the season against the Colorado Avalanche. I know Quinn Hughes is relatively older than the rest of his teammates. I get that. But he has deserved the captaincy since he got here. Even when we gave it to Kaprizov, I was debating a lot of other guys who are still on this roster. Kaprizov deserved the captaincy, 100%. Quinn Hughes 100% deserves that letter on his chest. So as the captain of the Minnesota Wild, he tries to lead this team to Cup number 7, and it starts with game number 1 against the Colorado Avalanche. That's a nice first game of the season, even though we're the reigning Stanley Cup champions and we should be on home ice, but it's whatever. First period, 2-0 Colorado. Pettersson with a rough period there. Gustav, Slychuk, and Turris about a minute 38 apart. Second period. Oh, what a phenomenal second period. Harris and Hadar on the board. Gogolev, Hudobin, and Parrish topping it all off. That is great. Shots are in our favor. Pretty even, though, 25-24. Third period underway. We were down 2-0. Now we're up by 3 goals. His first goal as captain of the Minnesota Wild, Quinn freaking Hughes. 150% deserves that letter. Lehnen with a shorthanded goal, but it looks like the Minnesota Wild will walk away with game number 1 in the win column. Good game number 1. We knew there were going to be a lot of goals each and every way, but a win is a win is a win. 1-0-0 in the season. Let's go ahead and get to the end of October and see where we stand. I know this team is going to start to falter here sooner or later. That's a fact, I think. No, that's a fact. I know we're still very competitive. I think that's also a fact. It depends if we gel or not. We could be a great regular season team and just blow it in the postseason. It's definitely a factor. The draft this year, first projected pick is, oh my god, Sylvain Ferrero. Nope, not even going to try. We also have Detroit's first round pick for the next 2 years, so remember that. 4-0-0, can we keep the streak going? Hell yeah. Matthew Tkachuk? No, thank you, Washington. 2 OT victories in a row, stomping on Vancouver, 6-0-0. Come on. Oh, Sergei Gogolev has been injured until the 5th of November. Head coach replaces player. We'll get Danner in there to replace him for a little bit. Dallas, beating them in regulation. We lose to Montreal. That's our first loss of the season. Gogolev wants to talk to me while he's injured. You're playing 12 minutes a night, dude. We discussed this. Your contract is coming up. I know. Trust me, I know. Let's get through the first month. See where we're at. 7-0-1. Losing our first regulation game of the season against Edmonton. See if we can turn that around with a victory against the Colorado Avalanche. 8-1-1. Second place in our division? Well, they do have we have 2 games at hand, so it looks like we're first place, but as you see right there, Cale Newman is just dominating. But how about we go 2 months and then see where we're at, and we'll check out the stats. That's what I usually tend to do. So 2 months, let's get through 2 months, see where we're at. Things usually tend to level out by then. So Denner, get out of the lineup. How are you in 4 games? Terrible. Love to see that. Gogolev, welcome back to the squad. LA Kings, come on, bring it back, boys. 11-1 stomping over the Coyotes. I am so sorry, Arizona. Not like any fans were in attendance to see. Bob McFumbles has been hurt in the AHL. Not too worried about that. 10-1-1. St. Louis, regulation loss there. Okay, 2 regulation losses there. No, come on, keep it going, Minnesota. Keep it going, buds. 6-2 shootout victory. Did I just say a 6-2 shootout victory? 3-2. I don't know what I'm talking about. I swear to God, I am not on drugs. I swear to God. Oh yeah, let's get Bob McFumbles back in the squad. Oh, Cronwell. Right, do we not have any forwards in the AHL that are scratched? Well, it's something to worry about off camera. I'm not even too worried about it. 3 wins in a row there. After sustaining our second regulation loss, we get some revenge over St. Louis. With a 7-3 win, we are stomping the league so far. Lars Prince has been injured in the AHL. Fun times. The AHL has taken a beating so far this season. Seasoning. What am I saying? 18-2-1. Keep it going, Minnesota. 37 points on the regular season so far. Florida Panthers. Florida. Are we looking at regulation win number 20? Harrison Hadar has been hurt until December 3rd. That sucks. Head coach places player. He should be back any point now. Lars Prince. Yeah, we should probably sign some forwards off camera. We will. Don't even worry about it. Winnipeg. 8-7 shootout loss. What a barn burner. Harrison Hadar is back. Welcome back to this club. Bunch of injuries this season so far. That is definitely a little weird, but it's whatever. We're fine. Everything's okay. Vancouver, can we hit number 20? Can we do it before December 1st? And we don't. 19-3-2. It's been a great season so far. Anthony Francis is going off as usual, but let's go ahead and check that out. First, I want to see where Detroit's at. Detroit is out of a playoff spot. Hell friggin' yeah. Screw you, Detroit. Come on. Yes, they offered us the first, by the way. They offered us first. So let's check out the squad so far. Anthony Francis is having a great... First line is doing great. I see a lot of great things. A lot of guys stepping up through 24 games. Obviously, the top 2 guys, Anthony Francis and Petrangelov, do it every single year. Anthony Francis just passed 1,400 points. He can definitely hit 1,500 this season. I think that is doable. 800 assists as well. He'll hit 700 goals sooner or later. He's definitely even contending for the all-time goal record. Petrangelov is a beauty. What else is there to say about him? He's 1 goal away from 600, and he just hit 1,000 games. What a career for him. Numelin, now out of the shadow of Kaprizov, is definitely stepping things up. 31 points, 16 goals. He'll hit 500 goals this year. He just hit 400 assists, and he'll hit 900 points as well. What a goal scorer. Langweeder, after having a few iffy seasons, is definitely stepping up as a top-tier player. Hudobin with first-line time, he's definitely progressing. You can debate putting Newman on the first line, but I think evening things out is okay for us. Haydar, 21 points. If he's a 70-point guy in his second year, I'm 100% fine with that. Small steps. Gogolev with 18 points in 20 games. He was hurt there for a bit, but with the time that he's been in the lineup, he's been an absolute great player. Habibulin on the fourth line, 12 points in 24 games, half point per game on the fourth line. That is phenomenal. Schoon on the third line, 11 points. He's 77 overall. Is he NHL ready? Debatable, but I think his offensive stats, he is ready for it. I think I need to keep him up there. You also have Kreider, who has 8 points. I think he's also ready. I don't want to push these guys down now. They're 21. They're going to be 22 here very, very soon, and that's when you stop. That's when prospects stop being prospects and start being maybe. That's what we have. We've had a lot of maybes before. I want to see if these guys are legit. Bobby Lev with 8, McKinnon with 7. Everybody's stepping the hell up. Everybody's doing great. Defense. Brant Clark is going for another Norris. Harry Parrish with 19 points. He's stepping up. Stepping up. Quinn Hughes, the new captain of the Minnesota Wild. He'll probably hit 1,300 points this season if he hits a point per game. I know 18 points in 24 games as a 34-year-old defenseman is great. I'm not taking anything away from you. That's just a fact. Georges Bissonnette with 18 as well, so the defense is just going crazy. Grossman with 8 points is still really, really impressive. Enlund with 3, not doing too shabby. Let's talk about goaltending. Christian Pettersson with is 14-3, and save percentage could be better. He's winning plenty of games, right? So I'll give him a bit of a break. And our backup's 5-0-2, which isn't too bad. Goals against is pretty good, so they're both having okay seasons. They're winning games. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Entire league. See some award races. The best goaltender right now is Marc Briere from the New York Islanders. Yeah, he is having a great season so far. He's definitely the runaway Vezina winner right now. Hopefully he continues that for the Islanders. Rookie skaters. Will Darby for Philadelphia. You have the reigning first overall pick from Nashville. Schoon's up there. There's a few guys contending for it. A few. Defensemen. Is Brant Clark going for 2 in a row? Okay, we do have a race here at the top. Brant Clark is 3rd in the league in defensive points. Mironov with Columbus. Oh, Mironov, I miss you, bud. I miss you so much, Mironov. At least you're in Columbus. At least you're in Columbus. So there's a bit of a race. There's a bit of a race. How about the Art Ross? So France is a few points away from Aguchi. So Nashville's definitely stepping it up. Yellowvack's doing great. Okay, there's a few races. How about goals? 22 leads the league. Francis could definitely contend for a few trophies this season, which is a big positive for us. But I'm gonna call it this episode. That's it for this one. Great season, but we have a long way to go. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like, leave a comment, share with people who you think may enjoy this sort of thing. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.